Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Today's video is going to be a tutorial on how to make this structured beret with an optional but heavily recommended bow. I made one of these over the holidays to match a coat and I loved it and you guys seem to love it and now I'm showing you how to make it. For this project you'll need a pattern which will be linked in the description box down below. It isn't very good, but it's free. You'll also need 1/3 yard of fabric, and I would recommend using something heavyweight for this. Basically anything labeled coating or in a similar weight to fleece, or actual fleece would work too. You'll also need 1/2 yard of interfacing, 40 inches of plastic boning. I'll talk about alternatives later, but this is definitely preferred. Then basics like a ruler, scissors, or multiple pairs of scissors, tape, pins, matching thread, a needle, and you'll want a sewing machine and an iron. Step 1 is cutting out the pattern, then cut all of the pieces out. And these might look like sewing scissors, but they have been retired, so I am allowed to use them for paper. I promise. And now I'm going to tape the brim together. You want to end up with a curved piece like this, with edges that have a 1/2 inch of seam allowance at the back. Then I'm just tracing the dotted lines through the paper, but again, I plan on mirroring this pattern, in which case you won't have to do this. That is the brim done, and now it is time to focus on the top of the pattern and the bow. Printing 2 sheets of paper for this pattern will provide you with half the pattern, but the pieces are intended to be cut on the fold of fabric, so it's fine. And for the bow, the short, straight edges are taped together, and for the top piece, it doesn't really matter which edge you tape together because they are identical. The top pattern is just half of a 12-inch circle. There is one pattern piece you have to draft yourself. This piece is for the center of the bow, and it is just a 4.5 inch by 5.5 inch rectangle. So if you have a ruler and some scrap paper, you should be able to make this. And here is the finished pattern, ready to go. Now it is time to get out your fabric. All the pieces are cut once except for the brim, which is cut out twice. And if your fabric is really expensive or you're running short, you can cut one of the layers from a similar weight lining fabric. And seam allowances are included in all of these pieces, so you just have to pin them on and cut around them. But remember, the pieces for the bow and the top of the hat need to be placed with the straight edge on the fabric's fold. And here's everything all nicely cut out. We'll focus on the brim first, so go ahead and remove the pattern. Then lay that pattern underneath a piece of lightweight fusible interfacing and pin it in place. Now trace around the pattern and trace over the 3 centermost lines. The interfacing helps support the brim, but I'm primarily doing this to transfer these guidelines onto the wool. If you have another marking method you prefer, then feel free to do that, but I find nubby, heavy wools very difficult to mark with more traditional methods. And this is a really fast workaround for a garment that isn't going to get washed. Once everything is marked, the pattern can be removed and the piece of interfacing can be cut out. Now pin the interfacing to the wrong side of the brim lining and iron this thoroughly to fuse the layers together. Now I'm going over to my sewing machine and stitching across those lines I marked. And I actually did this with contrasting thread, so the stitching would be more visible on the right side of the lining. And I'm trying to follow the lines I marked as close as I can, because these stitches will become a guide for the actual top stitching you see when the hat is worn. Now I'm pinning the lining and the top layer fabric together around the inner curve with the right sides facing each other. The layers are sewn together with a 1/2 inch allowance. I'm notching the seam allowance so it curves more smoothly, then ironing that seam allowance so it sits under the interfaced/lining side of the brim. Otherwise, the bulk of it may be visible when the hat is worn. And now I'm pinning these short edges together, making sure that the seams line up and that the seam allowance is folded towards the interfaced side. And then this is sewn with a 1/2 inch allowance, and sew slowly because the fabric gets pretty thick when you reach the seam allowance. This seam gets pressed open. And now I'm going to understitch the lining, and this consists of sewing a 1/16 of an inch away from the seam. It also secures the seam allowance to the lining and motivates it to stay tucked inward. You'll see this method most often on facings around necklines of dresses or waistbands, but it works for this too. After that is done, the seam allowance can be trimmed to around 1/4 inch. Now fold the brim at the seam line and pin the layers together so the right side is facing outward and the edges are even. For the interior, it should look like this. See those stitches we sewed earlier? We are going to sew over those again, but this time the stitching will be visible from the outside of the hat, so make sure you are using a matching thread. Like I said earlier, just stitch across those stitches. And since this time you are sewing through 2 layers of heavy wool, it should create an almost quilted effect. And though I'm sure you could skip this step if you don't like how the top stitching looks, it does help the hat's structural integrity. So in that case, you might want to consider a thicker interfacing for the brim. Also, I should have said this first, but using a needle intended for heavy fabrics will make this process a lot easier, as will testing your tension and stitch length on scraps prior to sewing. I don't think coatings are hard to sew, but if they are different to what you're used to sewing, then it's worth doing a few tests on a scrap first. Now the remaining pins can be removed, and it's time to unpin the pattern from the top piece. The top of the hat should be placed on top of the brim, with the raw edges even and the right sides facing each other. It's also a good idea to match up the center point and center back. These points can be found by folding the pieces in half and marking the fold with a pin. Flip the hat over and make sure you're pinning it from the brim side. Carefully ease the curves of the brim to match the curve at the top of the hat. It might look like the top piece is too small, but it isn't, it just takes some easing. I know people hate pinning this way because you have to remove them as you sew, but pinning the pieces together horizontally gives you a lot more control when doing something like this. Once this is pinned, take it to the sewing machine and stitch around the entire edge with a 1/2 inch allowance. Also, kudos to anyone who noticed I sewed this with the wrong sides together by accident and had to redo those last 2 steps. Once this was resolved, I ironed the hat so the seam allowances were tucked underneath the top portion, and then I stitched a 1/16 of an inch away from the seam. But you may notice when the hat is turned right side out that it is still pretty floppy and looks pretty bad. This is normal, so don't worry. The fix for this is sewing boning into the seam around the top of the hat. I'm using 1/4 inch wide plastic boning, and you need about 40 inches for this project. I'm tucking it under the seam allowance, then whip stitching the seam allowance over it. And each of these stitches goes through the seam allowance, obviously, then catches a few threads from the top of the hat. So you're basically whip stitching the seam allowance into a boning channel, and these stitches will be slightly visible from the exterior, but as long as they are even, it should look okay. I'm going to link where I bought my boning down below, but most fabric stores should carry packages of featherweight boning in the notions department. It comes in cotton casing, but if you remove that, it's pretty much the same stuff. Sometimes they have more flexible 1/4 inch wide boning that can be purchased by the yard and is usually in boxes at the bottom of the notion section. And if you can't find any boning at all, you could probably glue or tape zip ties together and get a similar material, or use plastic strapping like what is used to secure boxes for shipping. You just want something flexible that bounces back and can hold its shape. Here is the finished hat base. Also, I didn't finish the raw edges on the interior because wool and fabrics at this weight generally don't fray much, but you could serge or zigzag them if it bothers you. I just wouldn't suggest binding this edge with anything because you want to avoid excess bulk in that area. Now for the best part, the bow. Once you remove the pattern, fold the pieces in half lengthwise with the right sides facing each other, and pin the raw edges together. In the case of the bow, make sure you leave 2 inches or so of the center open so you can turn it right side out. And for the center of the bow, the ends should be left open so you have a tube. And like everything else, these have 1/2 inch seam allowances. Now I'm trimming the bulk of the seam allowance off, then turning the pieces right side out. And in the case of the bow, I'm using the point of my scissors to make sure the corners are completely turned out. Then fold the seam allowance from the portion left open inward and pin it. Now all of these pieces get ironed, and you want to iron the center of the bow so the seam is at the center back. Now the opening in the bow can be stitched up. This will be covered by the center of the bow, so you can do whatever stitch you want, even do this by machine, but I chose to whip stitch it. Now use your fingers to gather the bow at the center and wrap the center, that's really confusing, around the center of the bow. And on the back of the bow, you want to tuck one end of the center piece inward and fold it over itself. Use a pin to hold it in place and make sure you like how it looks from the front before sewing it. When it comes to actually sewing it, I'm once again using whip stitches. Now the bow can be pinned onto the hat. It would be really cute at the back or center front, but I thought it was most flattering on the side. So I pinned it where I wanted, then used a few strands of thread to secure it to the hat. And I'd suggest mainly securing it at the center with a few whip stitches through the top and bottom. Then tie off your thread and optionally put tacking stitches through the ends of the bow as well. Just remember to tie off your thread after tacking each corner because you don't want a 7-inch long strand of thread running across the interior of the hat. It'll get caught on stuff and not be nearly as secure. And with that done, your hat is done. I love how this turned out, and I love how the first one turned out. These are just such a lightweight, flattering hat, and definitely have a vintage look to them while being somewhat understated, at least compared to most vintage hats. I'm highly tempted to make these to match all of my coats, and I hope you are tempted to make at least one too. If you enjoyed this video, then giving it a like and a comment would really help me out. If you want to see more hat tutorials, then check out the description box. I've done others and I will have them linked down there. And if you'd like to see more of me, then you should subscribe. I also have a Patreon if you're interested in early access to content as well as access to exclusive content. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will talk to all of you very soon.